Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tog Talks, sponsored by Photographer Entrepreneurs Association. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the association, go to photographerentrepreneur.com to learn more about photography business resources, templates, training, and support. We'll see you over there. All right, welcome. We're back again with another exciting interview, and we're here with Craig Stidham. Hey, Craig, how are you?
Just chilling, hanging out, staying warm.
Awesome. So Craig has so much information to share, so much knowledge. Definitely, I'm really excited about today's interview, but want to tell everyone a little bit about him that doesn't know who he is. So Craig is a professional fashion and portrait photographer based in Texas. He was photographically born into the fashion world in October 1994 after receiving a formal education in photography. He has been published in several fashion and photography magazines, as well as billboards across the country. Now, in 2010, Craig began teaching workshops, touring the U.S. as a speaker for industry conferences, and published his first book, Fashion Seniors. 2 years later, his second book, Dynamic Posing Guide, sold over 5,000 copies on Amazon in 3 days, placing it on the retailer's giant top 100 photography books list. Craig has an open house attitude, always willing to take time for others and answer questions those who call. So we're excited that you're here, and we have
thanks for having me. I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
Yes. So why don't we first off talk a little about you and your expertise in your business, and maybe something about your business that people don't know about.
Well, the new big hit for me right now in the business that a lot of people don't know, and I keep getting these like little sidebars on Facebook Messenger and that kind of stuff. It's like, do you own a modeling agency? And so, yes, I finally took the plunge and actually opened an official modeling agency also. So I'm kind of like photographer on this side and agent on this side, you know. And it's been an eye-opening experience, but, you know, I've been in the fashion industry for, you know, pretty much my entire life. And it's just a good way to bring seniors that look the part, act the part, you know, they meet the requirements, they're 5'9", 5'10", you know, they fit within the guidelines, and then you always shoot, you know, photographers like us, we always shoot seniors or younger people, and they go, oh, you should be a model, you know, and this is taking that one more step and going, yeah, you actually should be a model. Let's get you working, you know. So that's kind of new for me, is opening both ends of the business. It's definitely a right-hand, left-hand association, and I've had a blast doing it. Talk about a new twist on the marketing and making money while you sleep, and that's a whole nother conversation for another day, but it gets right in.
Bring you on that
I know, right? That's exciting. So exciting. So can you share with us maybe some of your biggest, because you've had a lot of experiences, some of your biggest challenges with your business and how you overcame them?
For seniors or for fashion?
We could do both if you like. If you have, or I don't know if they're the same challenges or they kind of go hand in hand.
A little bit, but, you know, okay, so for instance, let's just say seniors, okay? We'll split this into two, okay? So for seniors, the biggest challenge and stuff that I've had to overcome is the parental figure, you know? Our stuff is extremely edgy, it's very forward, and in reality, fashion, like professional fashion, is not pretty. It's a concept, but unless you're doing a beauty specific, it's not necessarily pretty. It's not something parents want to, you know, get a big 30 by 30 print and hang it on their wall, you know. But that girly available light kind of, it's not my style. And so, you know, my parents are forced to buy the 30 by 30 of, you know, makeup running down their face. And it's like, hey, here's your senior picture. Grandma's like, what the hell? You know? So, that's been a challenge. Just the, you know, the understanding of this is my background and this is how I shoot, you know. My makeup artist, Kim, she nicknamed them helicopter moms. Those ones that hover around all the time and they want to look over your shoulder. In our studio, when we shoot seniors, and I've started doing it outside also, but I'm 100% tethered. Everything I shoot gets right into the computer, so The client can see it. The senior can see it. Our makeup team can see it. You know, everybody can see everything in real time and what that image looks like. So if a light's off, the model moved, if a hair is out of place, an eyelash doesn't look good, everybody can see it, and then we can get it fixed right away. Mm-hmm. Now, being tethered is amazing because if you tell a senior, you're shooting on the back of your film card, and you tell a senior, hey, stand on your head and jiggle one leg, and they look at you like, what? Why? Like, you know? Where if I turn around and say, jiggle one leg and stand on your head, and I go, click, and they go, oh, that's freaking cool. And you're like, I know. Now, make that look good, you know? And then they're like, okay, let me jiggle both legs, you know? And so they're much more willing to focus and express on the emotional side of things than they are the technical side of things, because now they're part of the directing crew. They can see their images, you know, we want their opinion. And we always tell the senior kid, like, you can't hurt my feelings. When you mess with art directors and they're blunt, trust me, you can't hurt my. You can say anything you want. I'll be like, you know. So why do you not like that? Okay, let's fix it. You know. So back to that helicopter mom. That was a big tough ordeal. You know, you want to tell this parent like, get the hell out of here. You know. And so we built this little corner in the studio, and we call it our helicopter mom's. Like the chair, you know, and it's like a really plush lazy boy chair that's extra wide, and it's got like a little end table, and we're like, click, you know, depending on what time of day it is, stiff wine, you know, and we give them an iPad. And now that I said that I'm tethered, but we shoot all Capture Pro. I quit using Lightroom decades ago, you know, and move completely Capture Pro. What I like about Capture Pro is that when you shoot tethered, it'll go directly to your iPad. So you can make a Mac-to-Mac network, and it's right on my neck. So we hand her mom, helicopter mom, sitting in this chair with a glass of wine, an iPad Pro where she can like mark her images and select what she wants, and she doesn't get out of the chair. Okay, we get all the work we want. We're like, yeah. You know, dealing with helicopter mom has been the big deal. Now, when we shoot senior boys, even in my PDF, my senior magazine PDF, it actually says if you're a senior boy, your mom is not allowed to come. So we don't even let moms in the studio. Forget the helicopter chair; they're just not allowed in the front door. Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, okay, that goes off, you know. Yeah. But dudes just can't, they don't bring their swagger, you know, they're just not going to do it if mom's like right there, you know? Absolutely. As far as a security issue, I'm a guy, so with another guy, and we live in Texas. I said this at the, what did we do that? The top 50 photographers.
Where were we at? The Box Clark Mastermind.
There you go, the Mastermind group. You know, I said it there. We all live in Texas. Everybody carries a handgun. You know, even mom's got a Glock 17 in her purse. You know, so, welcome to Texas. You know, especially my part of Texas. But it really actually helped a lot. But then I got to thinking, okay, some of these moms were really getting their feelings hurt. So I twisted that. Now check this out. This is a cool spin. I twisted that and told the mom, I was like, Mom, does your senior, your boy, does he have a girlfriend, AKA like a dating girlfriend, or better, does he have a girlfriend like growing up, you know, just they're in the friend zone, but you know, but that mom trusts that girl, you know. She's all like, oh yeah. Yeah, which one? And I'm like, both. I don't care, you know? And so mom will pull either girlfriend or best friend out of school. And so now I get senior and a prospective client at the same time. And so then that girl is shooting behind the scenes. You know, the dude's got his swagger going on, and she's all like, dude, you look good. So then he relaxes. He's got because guys, men, we need the help of women. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't get it going. We're like, hey, what do you think of this? And your wife goes, that sucks. You're changing quickly, you know? So, same principle. And so, you know, like I said, it's kind of turned into a big marketing deal now, because when we get a guy, we get a girl at the same time. And most of the time, I've even had situations where we get a senior client who brings in a girl who another photographer's already shot, and then that senior client goes, oh, I want my pictures to look like that. And that mom will call and we'll redo the photo shoot. So I'm stealing from another photographer, and I'm like, hey. You know? So those are kind of the senior struggles and successes we've had. We've kind of changed things around and looked at it a little bit different, you know? Yeah, with fashion stuff in our area, we get a lot of wind.
The wind, yeah,
our wind, like today, for instance, if you look it up, our wind's like 30 miles an hour, gusts of 50, you know? So we can't go outside today and do a photo shoot with salt boxes, umbrellas, you know, any of that kind of stuff. And so learning to light with hard light or matching your environment light, that has been an issue, you know? And that's kind of what we teach at the workshops, because a lot of people, they look at our stuff and they're like, it's so natural. And, you know, even some of our newer stuff is, you know, we've had some stuff and people will go, is that available light? Wait, there's a catch light. Like, how'd you do that? You know? And it's just matching. So if you get a bright, hard, sunny day, you use a bright, hard, sunny light as opposed to a softbox, you know, so you don't have mixed lighting. And then I don't want to spill it out too much, but we use a lot of snafu white balance, and that helps out tremendously too. So, which we're going to go over at Sync. So if anybody is here, if this gets published before Sync, you'll get that workshop. If it doesn't, take our workshop. So no, but anyway, that we do. I really love to say, like, how can I screw this up, and then go with it. So, you know, it's another big deal. Is people they want to know, like, what white balance do I use? An auto white balance or any of that? And I'm like, no, I usually just, that's how I do it, you know.
It's great that you're taking a challenge instead of it being a challenge. You find the opportunity in it. So even like with the seniors and being able to have these extra people come along where it could have been a negative. I just remember like 20 years ago, back when I used to photograph a lot of models in Philadelphia, that, you know, it was always the boyfriend factor. You know? Yeah. And I used to flat fold the V flat, and I'd make them hold it. So they're like stretching, holding it behind them. They can't see anything.
Yeah.
Then
the security partition.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't work that great, you know, with seniors and stuff, but you know, case in point, same thing. We just put them in a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then set a V flat to block the V. No, I'm joking.
It's great to see those opportunities.
Love it.
Yeah.
So you've already shared like a bunch of marketing stuff already, just explaining how you got through these challenges. But what other marketing tips would you like to share? Do you think it'd be really helpful for a photographer?
So social media is obviously the big thing. Everybody loves it. It's free, you know, whoop-de-freaking do. Direct mail is huge. It still works today. So if you got coin, spend it, direct mail it, you know. Don't necessarily always target like the richest school if you're doing senior stuff. Let's just focus on senior stuff. If you're going to target like the rich school, they've already kind of made up their minds, you know. In reality, I don't get a big return on my direct mail from sending directly to like the rich school. Send to the couple of the middle class schools. You know, they haven't been influenced, or, you know, they don't do too many of the richer schools do that influence thing. Like, oh, well, somebody at church is going to do them, even though they might be horrid, you know, you know, they play that political game too much, where I think more of your middle class society, they're like, whatever, I don't care. That guy's great, you know? Yeah. And as far as word of mouth goes, you get 5 times more marketing bang for your buck in the middle class than you do the super rich class. So, you know, it's kind of like back in the day, like 20 years ago, everybody wanted to photograph the head cheerleader. Remember that? Well, now it's like the head band nerd, because the head band person is more powerful than the head cheerleader as far as return for your buck. So same kind of scenario, you know. But if you're going to social media it, running a couple ads here and there is okay, you know, little flyers here and there. But you know what makes the best is behind the scenes, like personable, goofy kind of stuff. That's where it's at right there, you know. We do a ton of behind the scenes. We make videos. We even just give them. It used to be a big deal to sell them to your seniors, but I just use iMovie on the Mac, just generically clip some stuff together, and here you go, have this, and let them post the hell out of it, and then to keep trolling photographers out, pretty much everybody on my team knows not to photograph the lighting equipment. So don't get on Instagram and try to troll my page and look for lighting diagrams, because you're not going to get it,
I love it. I love it.
It's funny because I can visualize them like screenshotting, like just at the end of the day, like what you said there, the behind the scenes, like you're showing your personality and your style. So yes, you do have the work and the lighting and the posing and like the technique, but all those people can't duplicate you.
No.
And really that's what you're selling when you do the behind the scenes stuff. You're showing a great experience. The client's having a great time. You know how to communicate with them. They get to see who you are. You're not just some company logo.
Right. And I think the goofy, silly, fun stuff is totally the way to go, because they don't want that stiff photographer, like, now put your hand here. Yeah. Nobody wants that crap. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So for a photographer that's just starting off in their business, what advice would you give them?
Shoot every day. I just literally had a photographer call me and being like, I can't get to that next level. I'm like, are you shooting today? No. Are you shooting tomorrow? And they're like, no. I'm like, why not? Don't you have like senior reps or, seniors you've already photographed, you've already taken their money? And then she's like, yeah, freaking call them, get that person in your studio and shoot, Well, what if they don't pay you? Who gives a crap? Shoot. I mean, your worst mess ups is your best learning experience. That's the way I look at it, And if you totally take something out of Harper's Bazaar or V Magazine or W for that matter, take Gwen Stefani's Christmas album. I mean, it's a red background with a red dress with a big red bow in her hair, and Jamie Nelson did the photography. She's amazing, by the way, out of LA, okay? Take that whole, it's a red dress, red background with a big red bow right there in her hair, and her hair's pulled back and her makeup's pretty simple. Get a senior, put it in the studio, and nail that. And if you can plagiarize that, then perfect, great. But if you can't, look at Jamie Nelson's and then look at what you did and go, why is mine not matching? Is my contrast too much? What did I change? Mm-hmm. That's what I would say is shoot every day, whether it's for free or not for free, because the value of shooting all the time is more valuable than an actual paycheck. I've been a shooter my entire life, and to this day, I still keep a spiraled notebook in the studio. And so gels are becoming the new hot thing. I hope I sent you guys some gels in the media package, some pictures. If I didn't, I'll send you one. But trying to get some of that stuff figured out was months of trial and error. And what kept me going and improving was every freaking time I got in the studio, I would shoot about 6 or 7 images and then go, okay, this is where I left off, and I would draw that diagram in my spiral notebook. Nice. My footage, my wattage, my power, what light I use, and I could reset all that back up again. And then once I was there, I would start trying to make it where I wanted to go. And then when I was like, okay, we're wrapping the studio, I would redraw my lighting diagram again. So I'm constantly always taking notes, and that, if you can't come back to it for a couple weeks, you don't guess. There's no guessing, Right. Sometimes we've made, like, we're shooting a senior and it's like click, and you're like, oh, that's freaking cool, and you're like, I need to come back to that later. And I'll take a pause, open up my spiral notebook and draw it out kind of how I had it. And then I'll come back to that later, Because sometimes your mess ups are your biggest learning deal. So, even to me, I still take notes to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I need to become better at that. I used to do that years ago, pre-digital. And then these days when we want to duplicate something, or we have that aha, I'll ask Melissa, grab me one of the wide angle lenses. So she'll grab it. I'll take about 10 feet step back, and I'll grab, for my own reference, like the whole lighting setup, I'll grab it so I can see spatially. But it sounds like, even doing that, at least you have a catalog you can go to. Because for me, I had to go back into, the catalogs and look online for that shoot, find that image.
Yeah, see, the shooting the photo is a good step, but you don't realize what modifier did you use. Was that, and I use power packs. Ours aren't monolights. Ours are power packs. And so we'll say, okay, that's in a 2,400 watt generator at half power at 6 feet,
right?
Yep. So then you're like, well, crap. Okay, is that a 1,200 light at 6 feet? So it gives you a better opportunity to go, I just want to screw that, set it up, put it all back into that generator, measure out 6 feet or walk it off, That's another real big helpful hint too, is always use your own body as a ruler. So if I go like this and I have my wingspan, then my wingspan is my wingspan, and my normal steps are my normal steps. And so I'll actually stand right behind my model or my senior, and I'll walk off to a certain light and I'll go, okay, that's 3 paces, Okay. That's a real good outdoor way to mark things down real fast, is just use your body as a ruler,
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I wanted to circle back to something you had said earlier, because you have a vision for lots of different things, and your work is very different than traditional senior work with the fashion. So how do you convey that to clients that are used to like things that might be a little bit more traditional, not your style, that like this is how you work? Because you're talking about these like the different lighting techniques and different visions that you have, but it might not be the everyday senior client.
Trust me. We are definitely the 1%. And when I mean the 1% is 1% of the available market probably comes to us, which I'm completely good with. Now, being in the Amarillo area in the square part of Texas, we're right in the center. So if you really think about it, we have New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. So we have a 5-state marketing range, and that's pretty amazing. So 1% of a large area is still working every day, but to convey out, obviously if you look at our website, it's different. If you look at our Instagram, it's different. We just post stuff out there. If we get a mom that calls, it's kind of really stupid, but you're like, yeah, have you seen our stuff? And then mom's like, no, I just heard about you. And I'm like, well, why don't you take a look at it real quick, I also have a welcome packet. It's a PDF. You can download it off my website. And so there's a wealth of information in there, I really love Pinterest. We used to do pre-senior consultations, but now we're so busy we can't get them all in, If we're slower, I still like to do pre-consult meetings because that is so much trust building. It's amazing how much trust building you can get, If I can't get them in time, then we have our seniors, the actual senior, and they'll build a Pinterest board of just everything they like. I don't say go look at senior stuff. I say go look at everything, And then for me, when I get that board in, I dissect the board. Okay, is there more black and whites than color? Does she like split lighting? Does she like the Rembrandt lighting? Does she like the flat lighting? Is all that lighting available light? Is it soft? And so that helps me get in their head pretty quick. And then with that senior, I just use those dissections to kind of start her session before I throw them to the wolves, The other really cool thing is we do shoot tethered. So, yes, we've had seniors come in who didn't do anything. No Pinterest boards. They didn't look at our website. Some other friend said, this guy was amazing, And then they come in and you can tell that senior's like, and you're like, is this too much? What's going on? They're like, well, it's really, and so then we'll tame it down, change the lighting pattern, change the background and tame it down. And so, by shooting tethered, you can build that confidence. And then they're like, that's what I want. Okay, it's boring as hell. And off you go, And we've had some seniors come in and be like, they're like, that's too boring, Okay, well, woohoo, love you. Let's jazz this up, So
That's great. You're able to get into
Yeah, tethering is an instant feedback, instant gratification, you know. It's amazing. So
I'm high, I assume. So they're probably bragging, telling all their friends because they saw their real images, you know, type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to sidecar. Is that okay to sidecar a second? Okay, so I actually stole a page from Scott Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and because we do shoot tethered, then makeup's got to clean up. Our seniors, all of our seniors come to the studio, okay, in like pajama pants and a zip up hoodie with dirty hair and some big old messy bun and a Starbucks coffee. We actually have requirements. Like, we want you to come to the studio a certain way. That's it. You know, we treat all of our seniors like professional models. So they all come like professional models. They're not wearing no bras, no elastic, drawstring, you know, all that stuff. So then that way, if we start off with a dress and we can't see, but, you know, like a sleeveless, then they don't have these big red marks on them, you know, but they're wearing a zip up hoodie, you know, so they're all treated like professionals, and is in that regards. Right. Yeah. So when they come, you know, when the session's over, they're all done. Their hair's done. The dressing room looks like a mess, like a tornado ran through there, you know, and everybody's cleaning up. Well, I take that little bit of time and say, you know, hey, why don't you go get comfortable? You know, we get new Cokes or water out of the refrigerator. And then, you know, we got about 5 minutes. Well, when I shoot tethered, just like Lightroom or Capture Pro, we'll shoot, you know, 6, 12, 15 images. We just make a run. We call it a run. And then when we're done, we kind of take a break, thumb through those, and then shoot another. And then when that sets, so let's say she's shooting a black shirt and we've done 3 runs. Well, before she changes that black shirt, the senior will actually go through all the images we just shot. And I give her complete control of the computer. So she'll mark them, not mark them if she doesn't like it, a 1 if it's like, a 2 if it's like, yeah, you know, then they hit 2. Well, what I do is when that senior dresses out and she changes, most of the time they're going to like leave on a regular t-shirt, but they're going to put on their pajama pants and their Uggs or flip-flops or whatever, right? Well, I stole a page out of Scott Crosby. If they're on such a massive high and everybody's so energetic, why don't you just do the cells right there?
Right.
So we just pull up the number 2 category and be like, all right, mom, cha-ching, and we just sell it right there. You're done. Yeah. I mean, and we also charge for retouching.
Good.
You know, a good way to get your money back, you know, is if they're like, well, we got a zit right there. Okay, well, that's a $15 retouch, you know. Oh, well, what about this? Well, that's a $40 retouch, you know. And so we just start racking up the bill right then and there, you know, and
that's perfect.
Excellent.
So,
no, it's good to hear because we actually separate our retouching as well, and because we do a lot of corporate work, a lot of headshots and lifestyle and environmental shoots. And people are always amazed that we compartmentalize like line item our work when we do, you know, corporate work. Yeah. So and it works. It's great to see you doing it with consumers, you know, as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nothing in this world is free.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. We're going to Sync, and then we're going to go to Disneyland or Disney World in Florida while we're down there, you know. And I'm buying the tickets, and I'm like, man, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that, I got to pay for this. I'm like, dude, nothing in this world is free. So why is photography the only industry that shoots photographs, retouches them for hours, and then sells them for like $20?
Right.
Are you stupid? You know? Yeah. I mean, anytime my button's in front of the computer, I'm making money.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, you know. And so we have a tier system for retouching, and if they don't, we get a lot of people. Well, what happens if they don't choose retouching? Well, if you got a big zit right there, you're going to have a big zit right there because I'm not touching it.
Right.
You know, we don't even send it through the automation. You want to send it through the automation? That's $8.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's a smart way.
Yeah, holy water on that folder, and hopefully it gets it, you know. But
I love it. So I have a fun question for you. If you were relocated to a brand new area and nobody knew who you were, and you had $1,000 in your business bank account, what would you do with that money to market yourself?
Oh, hell, probably throw a really big party. In reality, I'd probably start off with we're Catholic. I live in the Bible Belt, and so, obviously we go to church. I would start asking around and seeing what's going on, getting some people in, getting some butts in the seat. That's the big thing, and then going out from there. I'd probably stash my $1,000 until I got enough butts in the seats to, get a big launch, and then just kind of make a big launch out of it. And hopefully that works. I'd probably do the Vegas thing, roll your dice and let it go, Well, and that's perceived, though. But look at it. Think about it as far as other businesses, right? You have people spending millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials. Right. Why? Because they're trying to make a big market hit, They don't call it mass mail because you mail 3 pieces. True. You're making a market. So if you got $1,000, I'd spend it all and make a big market punch. Hopefully you get your 1% and that's worth it,
I like how you said that you would prime the engine go in your community. If you're faith-based, church-based, get those seats, butts in the seats, like you said, and photo that way at least you have relevant content of local people. Yeah, local people, local backgrounds, and you've learned, for instance, man, I thought I was going to get hung because I had moved from the Houston, Dallas area to this Bible Belt in the Amarillo, and I was like really big city. So people are like, dude, I don't like that. And I'm like, I don't give a crap what you like, Well, here, you can't do that. Here, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. How can I fix that for you? You know what I'm saying? And so I had to learn, trust me, and I'm much older and wiser now too. But, we call it our Houstonian. Meet anybody from Houston, they'll call it their Houstonian, It's like a car cuts you off, you shoot their tires. That's how it works, You couldn't do that up here. And so by moving to a new place, you would have to learn their culture and what you can and what you can't do, that kind of a situation. So yeah, prime that engine for sure, Love it. It's smart though, because that's one of the pieces I think people miss is that there's a lot of people that speak in the photography industry, and there's always that might not work in my area. That might not work in my area. And there's a hint of truth there where, if you take the speaker and they're in LA or they're in New York and they're like famous and they're saying, blah, 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 this is what I do and I treat people like dirt. Yeah, going back to your hometown. That's how it works here. Yeah, you might need to adapt. You need to listen to the market. You need to understand how people do business, how their personalities are, their attitudes, what about, and then take the pieces that you are learning and then adapt them to the environment so it makes sense. Yeah. Right. Sounds like.
Okay, so here's a little quick sidecar, okay? Yeah. But yeah, I love these little ones. I'm sorry. I hope I don't.
No, we love sidecars.
Okay. So speaking about our area in Houston, you would have like a dad pull up in a big old fancy car and a nice suit, and you're like, coin, right? Yeah. Well, here we actually had a daughter. She came in and she said, hey, my parents aren't going to make the sales presentation, and that I'm to do the sales presentation. Okay. And so we went through the entire sales presentation. She racked up, no lie, a $5,000 bill.
Wow.
Well, before calling, we weren't just going to like charge the credit card and then her dad be like, rah! So I called and I said, sir, your daughter just came and, she placed some stuff on order and I didn't really know how to break it to him. And he goes, first things out of that, did she order the print from my office? Yes, sir. We got a 24-inch print. He goes, well, I'm back in my office. Hold on. He got a tape measure on. He goes, I'm going to need a bigger print. And I was like, okay. And I told him how much it was. And he was like, okay. He goes, did you get the credit card information? Yes, sir. He goes, good. Run it. Well, when he came to pick up the order and all the fancy stuff and all this, we were expecting this suit tie kind of guy, right? He was actually an oil field engineer. So he came in this like Ford F-250 with mud all over it and blue jeans and a white shirt, but he had oil on himself and a clean badge. Like that was it. So, and then we have a ton of oil, gas, ranchers and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So you hear the term Texas limousine. So when you hear like a big gnarly diesel engine pulling up, that's like a Ferrari pulling up. You're like, hello. So, you can't judge. We had to learn real fast not to judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely.
And and because our area is so wide and spread out and people ranch and all that stuff, but they do it from sun up to sundown. seniors get a lot of leadway, and you got to respect that. They're like the senior, they're the client, and they're the mom all at the same time, you know? So that has been a big environmental change that we've had to take on here at our studio, and really, you know, treat them with respect and, you know, that kind of stuff. You can't just go, oh yeah, that's a 17-year-old kid. A 17-year-old kid has, you know, coin for a family, you know? Yeah. So, you know, yes, ma'am.
That's great. I mean, again, never judge, because you just never know those to be your best clients that you would never even expect.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's really weird, but I get a lot of business over Facebook Messenger or text message. That's great. You know, like parents call, you know, and they're like, cling, and you look at your deal and you're like, oh, I want to upgrade that package. Yes, ma'am. You know, so don't always think your sales are done either. That's a big thing, you know. Well, at least in my area, don't, you know. Yeah, because usually if somebody changes it, it's for the best. Rarely do we get downsized, you know, like they went home, they told the dad, you know. It's usually the dad who calls and says, you know, well, that's not big enough, or I need an extra one of those, or, you know, which is kind of great. But, you know, let's see. And then the other thing in our area, and it's just, I think it's just a Texas thing, but it's the no BS. But model teams don't work down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't get like 12 or 15 seniors and then they pass out stuff, and you know, the typical model program, it doesn't work down here. Parents are just like, oh, well, that's just BS, and they'll go to another photographer just because of that. You know, you know, they're like, oh, they're just handing you that because that person's making money. You know, they don't like that here at all. And so we haven't run a model program in forever, you know. Now, with that being said, we do actually have senior models. So here's my way of doing it, okay?
Yeah.
Again, nothing is for free. And why in the hell would I want to do an entire senior session and give them half off, right? So for me, we'll get a senior in the door and we'll shoot them. And then Kim and Emily and myself and the other team, those are all of our team members. So Kim is our makeup artist. Emily is our hairstylist. And then there's myself. And then we do have a set stylist that we hire out every once in a while, and she comes in. So like I said, we treat seniors like professional models.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, and they pay for it too. But anyway, so we'll be shooting their session, and if everything goes well, even if she's not Model S, they'll just have to be fun, you know? And then we'll do the sales presentation and all that stuff. And if the team had all made these notes that, you know, hey, we want her on the team, that's when, after we've taken their money, mom's written the check, and you're doing that small talk at the end, then we go, you know what? We have a bunch of seniors that are on our model team. You know, we'd like to invite you to be on our model team. Well, what's that inquire? Well, you already know what package they bought. So let's just say they bought a package with loose prints, right?
Right.
As opposed to a package with like matted prints. Well, if they buy the loose print package, then you already know that. So then we say, well, if we do a model shoot and we get good images out of it, then what we'll do is we'll take one or two of the best images, get them retouched for you, and then give you, you know, loose prints at whatever size they bought. Same thing with the matted images. You know, if, you know, we usually do a 1. So we'll say, okay, we'll do an 8x12 matted. It'll fit in your box. It'll match the rest of your stuff. And that's our payment to you for coming in and letting us do whatever we want to you, you know?
Right.
The second hand, because, and I always tell parents, I'm like, this isn't your typical model program, because I'm not putting my business in some 17-year-old kid's hand.
Right. Oh yeah, true.
I mean, why don't you just get on the interstate with a bunch of, you know, driver's ed students and see how your day goes, you know? So, you know, with that being said, we've already got their money. They've already paid full price. They already know the value of what's going on, you know? And so then when we call and say, you know, hey, today's super windy. We want to get out and try and, you know, do a prom dress in this wind and see if we can get it to go crazy. They're like, hell yeah, we'll skip, you know, and off they go. And that's where we get our model team, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. The other big thing is, you'd be surprised, we get 10 times more free advertising word of mouth from extra shoots than we ever did trying to pay people or inspire them, because they're not thinking about it. You know, this way, all of the social media word that's going out and all that other stuff is, hey, we skipped school today. We went and hang out with Craig. We went to the canyon and we did this, and they're just all over the place, and that's coin. That's free marketing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was saying, I think that ties back to even what you've said throughout this call, where here you are, you're shooting every day. Like if you these are going to fill in void, even though you're busy. No matter how busy all of us are, there's always those blank periods of times, whatever. So now you're still shooting, you're keeping things sharp. You're able to take more risks and do outside the box stuff because it isn't necessarily for the client specifically. So it allows you.
It's not for the client. Yeah,
they have a great time, and you're doing those behind the scenes things. So now you have an additional shoot.
Yeah, it just compounds. It snowballs so fast. I mean, the rewards are amazing. But yeah, yes, shoot every day. I mean, if you can. And the other part about that too is that when you are shooting a senior model, if you wanted to do something, there have been times where I've been blatantly honest and been like, I've never tried this before. Right. We're going to throw water on your head and see what in the hell happens. Yeah, if nothing turns out, at least we had a good time, I'll buy you lunch when we're done, okay. And then, they'll call and be like, so did anything come out? And you're like, no, not really. It's pretty ugly. And I'll send them the pictures and I'm like, see, like, I'm like, however, we should fix this. Like, now that we know what's really going to happen, you want to do it again on Friday afternoon? Yeah. And we do it again. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Craig, is there something that you do on a daily basis or a success ritual that you think really contributes to your success?
Smile and be positive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much things to get on about, my dad once told me a long time ago, if you're not good at it, surround yourself with people who are good at it. Mm-hmm. I own a mortar concrete building. Actually, right now the studio is a 1929 bank. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But, like the accounting and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. We finally got an accounting lady that we've had her for decades now. She does the wives' taxes. She does my taxes and all that. Once checkbooks kind of went away, everybody used the ATM cards. I'm not good with receipts. I'm like, oh shit, that was deductible. I should have kept that, or whatever. So now we just give her the login information to the bank. She just logs in and takes care of everything on a weekly basis. So now I can go to Home Depot or go to this and go do that or go do whatever. And if it's on the business ATM card, she just starts writing it down. And so I'm not good at that. So hire somebody who is, I just truly want to be like this in photography. I just want to shoot. I want to concentrate on lighting. I do use my hand meter. I went without it. Yeah. I went without it for a while, this feels like F8 125 click. Oop, guess not, but to me that just, I guess if I have a client in the studio on a daily basis, acting professional, even though you have no freaking clue what you're doing, it perceives you to be professional. Right. And so if I went back to my hand meter, because if I walk up and go click, 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 okay, this is what my camera is, and I do one test shot, it comes up on the screen, because remember, we're tethered. They're going to see that, and you're like, half stop, and then that for you, experience will take in. But it was way better than click, hold on, click, hold on, click. So that goes back to being that way. All of our cords are rolled and Velcro tied. That way we don't have any loose crap all over the studio. All of our light stands are cleaned. They're all Manfrotto. Yes, I spend money on gear. I am a gearhead.
It's okay.
Well, I know somebody out there is going to be a hater, but we're sponsored by Bowens, and so we have all of Bowens equipment. It's all beautiful. It's all nice. We have all Manfrotto, and all like Matthew Century stands and that kind of stuff. Well, having all of those are better than having some aftermarket light stand that's kind of a little rattly and wriggly. Because when people come in and they look at your gear, they're like, didn't this dude charge us $2,000 for pictures? And you're like, yeah. And you look at the gear and you're like, okay. But then if it's kind of wonky and wobbly and bent or gaff taped or the paint scratches off it, looking professional.
Yeah.
You're professional, even if you have no clue what you're doing,
It sounds like, especially just doing the tethering and doing the metering, this is stuff that the everyday senior and parent, they only see this on America's Next Top Model. Like they see this with New York fashion photographers. So I'm a big proponent of always metering. We tether a lot ourselves. We do wireless tether these days, but it's something that we're very big with that, because with our client experience, it just perception takes us, again, like you said, instead of like chimping looking at the back of a camera, it takes another level of professionalism in that perception. So even down to like the stands and everything, because we have Matthew poles and all the Manfrotto and Bogan booms,
totally,
and C stands and everything. So it's like something that's our lives as well. While that might not every day impress the everyday client, but when you're doing commercial work and you're doing where they do know the difference, like these little subtleties or consistencies or incongruencies with the perceived professionalism that you have. So I can definitely, because you're mixing in two different worlds, so I can definitely see the value. I think the hater would probably be more in the consumer space, thinking like you really don't need all that. But in the commercial space, we have creative directors and we have art directors and other people that quietly, they might not verbally say something, but they're eyeballing.
Oh yeah, you're totally getting interviewed. Your daily life is an interview, And like our seniors and our models, or anybody who does it, when you walk in our studio, the first thing you do is you walk in and there's a big 35-foot cycloric wall.
Nice.
And I had a grandparent come the other day because the parents had a sick kid, so a grandparent brought in a senior, and she was like, I have never been in a studio like this before. And so for her, that was like, wow, this is cool, as opposed to like having backgrounds, constantly dangling on the walls and stuff like that. So you're right. When they see the whole Next Top Model or, Harper's Bazaar, any of the blog posts and things like that, everybody shoots on a big cycloric wall. Or what was it? The AT&T commercial, remember they had the pile of receipts and it was on a cyc wall, So people relate cyc wall to like New York and fancy. And yeah, exactly. And so ours is a right angle. So it's 35 feet, 20. Yeah, it's pretty big.
We're going to have to visit.
We're definitely going to have to come visit.
I had a 30-foot wall in my studio years ago in Philly. And we had a car ramp right in the studio. It was great.
I'd like to, but ours is a bank, so we're on steps. But we do have 15-foot ceilings. So, like I said, it's 30 by 20 with 15-foot ceilings. And it's just a big, nasty, open square. We used to have fancy pictures on the wall and all kinds of stuff, but we would knock them down by moving booms and stuff around. And so I painted it all flat gray, like 18% gray. The ceilings are black to keep down on light reflection. But gray is when I was at the Art Institute, gray was supposed to be the creative color. And you know what? I feel much better. I had the plush studio, with the dedicated sales room and the monogram bathroom towels. And, oh, man, I am so glad I don't have that anymore. I just like my big square space, my big wall, just kind of build everything right there, So –
and not everything works for everybody. So you went that direction. It wasn't you. You pivoted. You found a methodology, even like the tethering and right there in the moment in-person sales versus sitting on a plush couch and seeing projection. Like you still get to the same net result. It's just a different way of going about it. So,
it is a different way. One thing that we do with our seniors a lot too is we actually make fun of senior pictures on Google. So if we do something and they're like, then we're like, oh God, that looks like senior picture. But our clients don't want that. That's the reason they're coming to us, And so, yeah, we have fun at that expense, And we're like, oh God, that's too seniorish, Maybe we should loosen that up a little bit,
That's great.
We just have fun with it. So
good. So Craig,
and loud music.
A lot of music.
Loud music. We have a freaking stereo system in the ceiling, boy. We'll Bluetooth their phones. Like we have their senior, and they'll come in and activate the Bluetooth, and they'll play their entire playlist, and it is thumping.
They gotta love that. They gotta love that.
That is great, because if you try to find a station that you think is their music, you're always going to be wrong.
Yeah.
No, we just Bluetooth our own, and it's in our magazine. It's like preload your phone.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them are like, "Oh, I have Pandora. Rock on, send it." You know.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, if you're whistling, turn your head. We're like 3 feet from you. Yeah, that's us.
Awesome.
So is there a business resource or tool that you use on a regular basis that you can't live without?
Like photography equipment, I use my meter.
Yeah, I know you talked about the meter, photography equipment. Is there anything else that you use besides like as far as like on a day-to-day basis, any of your systems or anything like that?
Well, we tether, so I have a stack full of those those little passport.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I do the 1 terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, say I'm shooting Allison, I'll put in a 1 terabyte, and then that hard drive is solely Allison. And then that hard drive goes to the house or wherever, and then it'll get backed up down the road. But if I have another senior coming in, then I get a whole separate hard drive, and that might be like Jonathan, you know, and that hard drive is all Jonathan. So if I got 3 seniors, I have 3 hard drives.
Yeah.
You know, that way it's not backed up, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So a little, you know, security wise, definitely I go with that. My meter is a big deal. Obviously computer systems is a big deal, you know, but even if I'm outside, that's good. I probably have the most squirrely spider belt ever. The spider holster system.
Yeah.
I got that from Melanie Anderson. She's the bomb. She'll give you the hookup, you know.
Good Melanie.
Yeah. But I've actually converted it, so I got like this little fanny pack that goes on it also. And then I have another little pouch that goes on it, and everybody's all like, what in the heck's in the... And so when you see me at sync, I'm walking around, I'll have my belt on, you know. But I keep things like clothespins, safety pins, little A-clamps, these little...
Can never have enough of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Pulling outfits together.
Exactly. Light stand stud attachments, Sharpies. I just keep all kinds of things in my little bags, you know.
That's awesome.
So when you're out, you know, if that dress doesn't fit, you know, we clamp it. It's instant. It's on my belt like my camera. You know, so. And
that's part of the entire client experience. So they're not just buying again just that image. These are all the little nuggets that you're putting into the entire grand experience that they give with you.
Yeah.
Years back when I decided to build this particular version of myself as opposed to the fancy studio and that kind of stuff, we had taken 11 of us to Disney World, you know? And, you know, and the whole time I got to thinking, you know, well, there's my family plus my daughter's best friend. And we went to Disney World for like 6 days or something like that. That was $5,000. You know what I mean? This is a coin.
Oh, yeah.
And we came back with like digital photos and a stuffed animal and 2 fake mouse ear things, you know what? And we loved it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, man, I need people to come into my studio and drop $5,000 and walk off with like 3 stupid things and love it, you know? And so, I actually really getting in behind the scenes, talking to financial people, talking to like strategists and that kind of stuff. And I spent some money, you know, buying their time and that kind of stuff. But we dissected why Disney is Disney. They call it the happy place.
Yeah.
And then Apple.
Yeah.
We dissected Apple. You know, why is it so yuppie? Why does everybody have it? Is it really better? You know, my whole house, my studio, everything is Apple based. And why do I have it? You know, but really getting down to the nuts and bolts. And so when we built a new business, we modeled this business after those 2 major businesses. That's made a massive difference, you know, is finding out why people come and drop $5,000 and walk off with, you know, 2 little mouse ears, you know?
Yeah.
Well, they say your success leaves clues. So you purposely went at successful models and overlaid it in your photography business and was very purposeful. You didn't like accidentally end up there. You said, this is exactly what we're building in this world.
Yeah, I really wanted the happy place. I wanted people to come to the studio and have like such a, you know, that's why we changed from like a little AM, you know, radio to legitimately going out and buying a system, you know, it's loud, you know? Yeah. you know, we have a couple of designer friends that work with us a lot, and we'll get their like their rejects if something got hemmed wrong or something like that. And we'll get all their kind of outfits. So we have like a closet. We've got shoes out the wazoo, you know. A lot of times I'll give some of our like really our more lead models, our Kim or Emily, our hairstylist, and I'll say like, here's $400. I want 6 new things, and they'll go shopping, and you know, and that's kind of what we do. So anytime a senior is like, you know, these pants are amazing, but you need something really simple for a top, and then we can go through our closet and say, how about this, you know, or yeah, whatever, you know. So it's pretty cool. I mean, everything in our studio is all fashion based, you know.
That's great.
Yeah. So last but not least, what are you working on now, and how can people get in touch with you?
I'm in the process of writing my 4th book. Yay. It'll kind of be, writing books is a huge ordeal. It's a lot of work, you know. This will be my 4th one. And I think it'll be more of a legacy. Mm-hmm. In other words, I probably could write a 5th book, but I'm not interested in writing a 5th book. So this particular book will be pretty much like heart, soul, it'll be the book of all books, you know, as far as that goes, you know, start to finish, lighting diagram, secrets, you know, even how to get sponsored. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. I mean, if you're a veteran photographer and you're like, dude, I need to be a speaker, and how did I do it? Here's how friends have done it, you know? Right. So, you know, things like that. There'll be a section in there for small space studios. I get that asked all the time, you know, well, what if I have a living room for a studio? So we'll have special lighting diagrams for that kind of stuff, you know? So that's something that's going on currently. I did open the modeling agency, so working with LA a lot here lately. Nice. Getting models out that direction, and you know, getting them placed, getting them signed, getting them working, keeping on them, that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of stuff right now too. Yeah. So that's what I have in hand. I think color gels as far as a trend. Mm-hmm. I do foresee color gels being a dated trend. They always were in the 80s. They're circling back. Mm-hmm.
Seen that. Yep.
Yeah. So now that I took on that challenge of finding out cool ways to do stuff. The ninja master of all time for gels is Jake Hicks out of the UK. He's also sponsored by Bowen. So luckily for me, when I got to go to London, I got to eat dinner with the dude and just chit chat, and we've become friends, and we Skype all the time. And so he kind of has helped me out a lot with learning the cool gel techniques that he does and that kind of stuff. Now that I've gotten images and I can redo it over and over again, I'm kind of moving on to other things. Mm-hmm. I'm still ultimately a black and white fan. Always have been ever since like Oriental Seagull way back in like 1989. Yeah. So I'm kind of going back to that, you know, classic black and white fashion forward stuff. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. As far as getting a hold of me, I'm an Instagram nut. I love Instagram. My Instagram is just Craig Stidham. I'm on Facebook, Craig Stidham Photography, but I'm hardly ever there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't like Facebook. So pretty open about that, by the way. I was going to say I'm a very open person, so send me a message. You know, an email messenger works better. Mm-hmm. I got to have the little red dot thingy on my phone that says, hey, stupid, get back in touch with these people. Yeah. So
do you also you do live workshops and also do one-on-ones or group settings or something, I believe? Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay, so we do mentoring. You can sign up and do mentoring, and we'll do scheduled phone calls and video conferences and that kind of stuff. It's more of it's a lengthy hand-holding process, which we do have a bunch of people that do that. And even if, for me personally, I'm much a give it forward kind of a person. So if I have somebody who does like a 12-month mentoring subscription, they pretty much can still call or, text me and be like, hey man, are you busy? I'm like, hey, I can call you back later, and I'll still answer their question. I'm not going to be a jerk about it, I do have like team workshops, and it's, if you want to, have 4 or 5 of your area people get together. We've had photographers who want to bring in their own hair, their own makeup, so that their team learns from our team. So that's the reason we call it team workshops. It's so that their makeup, their hair can learn from our makeup and our hair. And then their photographer learns with our photographer. So, anyway, those are on our website. It's all at craigstidham.com, but those are called team workshops. And then our most popular deal, obviously, is the one-on-one workshop. I absolutely love that. I built it because there's so many people in a group setting that don't ever want to ask a question because they don't want to feel ousted or called out. And so that way, if it's you, me, and my team, there's no dumb question. Ask away. We can learn at your pace. It's 2 full days. You can spend a day at the studio, spend a day outside, spend 2 days outside. I do require people like send us an email on what they want to learn. What do you want to, when you leave, what do you want to make sure you learn? And I hammer those points until they learn it. So it's completely customizable. So a workshop tomorrow might be completely different from a workshop down the road. We've had very, very beginning people to very, very advanced people. Nice. We've even had people fly in with their own equipment. So they're learning on their own equipment. So they can't go home and be like, oh, well, we were using your equipment, So great. The one-on-one is very popular. So with all that being said, I'm going to present you guys a 30% discount code. So
oh wow,
yay!
Awesome.
I was going to love that.
Yeah. Which is actually more of a discount than anywhere else. Trust me, because I usually only do 20%. Remember, nothing in this world's for free.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
We'll have that information out for everyone so they can definitely take advantage of that. So
yep.
Excellent. This has been so much fun.
Oh
I love all the sidecars. Like, I think we should have like another interview for sure with more sidecars, because I mean, this was just from the beginning. You just shared so much information, super open.
Oh yeah,
and we just really appreciate it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, somebody took a risk on me years back. That's even how I got started in the industry. We were in college doing a fashion shoot at the Great Gatsby House. And Gretchen Van Cleve was our instructor, which is like top 5 fashion photographers in the United States. And she had walked over and she was like, if you can do anything all day long, every day for 15 hours, be completely sore, have a headache, need 3 Tylenol, starving, dehydrated, and you have to do it again tomorrow, what would it be? And I said, fashion. She said, show up at my studio Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
That's how I started. Literally. That was it. I did end up going and getting film and coffee and all kinds of crap. And she did push her buttons to see if I was going to quit. And then when she realized I was in for the long haul, she started teaching me pretty much everything she knows. So the polishing and the fine tuning and all that. So my personal thought is if she never took a chance, I wouldn't be here today, or I'd be stuck like a lot of people, So I definitely have a very open house, very open policy about it, because somebody did have an open house. It took a chance. So I'm here to help,
I love it.
Yeah. So, well, cool, man. I love everything, and I don't want to take up all y'all's time. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been amazing, and we will kind of go from there. So cool.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Peace.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tog Talks, sponsored by Photographer Entrepreneurs Association. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the association, go to photographerentrepreneur.com to learn more about photography business resources, templates, training, and support. We'll see you over there.